Hi there, it's Greg with StartingYourBusiness.com, and today I want to talk about the differences between a seller's permit and a resale certificate. So while these terms are related, it's easy to confuse the two, and I'd like to take a couple of minutes to clarify the differences. First off, a seller's permit, which depending on the state may be referred to as a sales tax permit, sales tax license, or even a business tax number, is a state requirement for a business that is physically operating in a state that collects sales taxes, or if that business is selling a certain amount of merchandise to the residents of another state. It's important to note that some states also require a business to obtain a sales tax permit, even if they are physically operating there and not selling a taxable product or service. This is referred to as Nexus and includes not only the primary state where the business operates, but when a business physically operates in another state, such as having an employee, inventory in a warehouse, office, etc., a sales tax permit is often required. Confusing, right? First one is pretty simple. If you operate a business in a state that collects sales tax and you sell a taxable product or offer a taxable service, you have to get a sales tax permit. So, for example, let's say you have a clothing boutique in town and sell a shirt to a customer who walks in off the street. The customer pays not only for the shirt, but there is an additional percentage that has to be added to the sale for the sales taxes. The sales tax that was charged in most cases is kept by the business until the end of the month in most states, and then a report and the sales taxes are then sent to the state agency that is responsible for taxes, which is typically called the Department of Revenue or something similar. But if your business sells merchandise to residents in another state, you may have to get a seller's permit in that state too. This is a big topic for another video, and for those starting out, this probably isn't going to be a problem early on. But you need to be aware that each state has specific thresholds that may require an out-of-state business to collect sales taxes from sales made to their residents. Each state is different, but typically most states require that once you sell over $100,000 in merchandise or sell over 200 in transactions in a calendar year to the residents, then you have to obtain a sales tax permit in that state and begin collecting the sales tax. So if you have this clothing boutique, but also have an online store, and this is regardless of whether the boutique is exclusively online or it's in conjunction with the retail shop, and you exceed that threshold of sales to another state, then you have to get a seller's permit and begin collecting that sales tax. Next, let's talk about the resale certificate, which is sometimes referred to as a wholesale license. Where the seller's permit allows you to legally make sales and collect sales taxes, a resale certificate allows you to buy products that you are going to resell to your customers tax-free. Why can you do this, you may ask? Well, because sales taxes are intended to be paid on the final value of a product or service. Unlike the seller's permit, the resale certificate isn't required, but there is no need for a business to tie up its cash paying the sales tax and then get reimbursed later by the state. So, when you purchase merchandise at wholesale or inventory to make a product, the sales taxes are typically withheld from your purchases so that the customer who will be consuming the final product pays the final sales tax, not the suppliers in between. So going back to our clothing boutique example, you purchase clothing at wholesale from a vendor that you in turn sell to your retail customers. Your supplier charges you the wholesale price, but no sales taxes are added because you will collect the sales tax from the customers who shop in your store, who are the end users of that product. Each state has a different process for obtaining a resale certificate, but before you can get one, your business will first need a seller's permit, as you will receive a unique tax number from the state that is entered on that resale certificate. In most cases, you will fill out the resale certificate, which is a state form, and give it to the vendor. This form isn't filed with the state, but the wholesale vendor is required by the state to have them on file in case they are audited so that they can justify why they did not charge sales tax on the order. If they don't have one on file, the vendor may have to pay the state back for the lost sales tax revenue. The resale certificate form is super easy to fill out, as the only information needed is typically the name and address of the business making the purchase, seller's permit number, a description of what the purchasing business does, and in general what merchandise is being purchased. To summarize, if your business sells a taxable product or service, you will more than likely be required by your state to have a seller's permit. If your business purchases supplies or inventory that is resold, then in addition to the seller's permit, if you'll be reselling a product, you should also get a resale certificate. I hope I was able to fully explain the differences between the seller's permit and the resale certificate. If you want to learn more about the steps to register for a seller's permit or get a resale certificate, I have guides for each state at startingyourbusiness.com. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments. Bye.